Boom. Boom. Change sensitivity on the pad and go into System, Pad Panel, and right here is Pad Sensitivity. Pad sensitivity can be heavy, or you got to hit it really hard to make it sound medium, and certainly light. Adjusting the velocity can be done pretty quickly and easily in the piano roll view. First you go in, you can actually see the velocity of each of the notes that are there, and it works very much like the sequence edit mode. You select a region, and I'm starting at the beginning of the track, and I'm going to go all the way to the end of it, and then you hit region out, and that selects the whole region. So you can see it went from measure 1 to the first beat of measure 5, and what we need to do is make sure that the right notes are selected, and this line indicates what note you would be selecting. So let's say if I move it up a little bit and I hit note select, then it selects all the notes that are on that line. And then the other way to do it is to just like change the velocity on all the notes, and that's where you use all note. If you want to do the actual velocity change, you have to go into the command menu and go down to number 6 there, which is change velocity. I have set it to a magnification of 80% and a bias of 14. What the 14 is going to do is going to move everything up by 14 points. It's going to make the velocity louder by 14 points, and it's going to magnify, or actually in this case, because I'm doing 80%, it's actually going to decrease the difference between each of the notes. One of the tricks that you can do is you can do undo to see what the change looked like, and redo to put it back. Another thing is that a lot of this stuff, a lot of the work on the MV can be done in real time, so you can do velocity changes in real time if you can listen to it, and you can hit undo if you don't like it, and you can hit redo if you like it. You can go in command, you can go in here and you can go and change the velocity another time again, bounce it up a little bit louder, still going, right? So you can see it got even louder. You can do an undo to see what change it made and redo. So that's velocity change from the piano roll view. Quantize. You can quantize a track by going into track parameters and going down to quantize type, switching it from grid or from off to grid or shuffle or template. And these are all different types. In the grid quantize, you can change the resolution of the quantization here. And for shuffle quantize, you can change the shuffle resolution there. If you want it to not be too strong, you can change the strength here. And in this case, I'm going to use a grid quantize. You can play around with these settings to see what they sound like. The rate at which the quantization can be done, you can manipulate the velocity when you're doing like a template quantize. You can choose your template here. There's different templates have different sounds. We can hear. Quantizing the track permanently is pretty easy. You just go into sequence edit mode, you hit the command button, and it is option number 6 here. And it looks very much like the quantization dialog box that you get whenever you're working with a track. It is the exact same feature set. So you can choose grid, quantize, you can choose shuffle, and do all the exact same things. The only difference is that once you commit, when you execute it, it will permanently change the timing of that track. To do step recording in pattern mode, first of all, get into pattern mode, hit shift, then hit the record button, and that will take you into the piano roll. Set your step time, and right now this is set to 240, which will give you an eighth note. You can set it to 320 or 480 to give you a quarter note or triplets, and it will record an individual note in the particular step time that you've chosen. You see it's adding notes. It's also adding notes at the velocity in which that I entered them. You can see the velocity where the first note was kind of higher, second note was down a little bit, the next note was up a little, down a little bit, up a little bit. Okay, so that's step recording. It's basically quantization, just recorded a little bit at a time. Now that I've recorded my pattern, let's take a look at the pattern list. Inside the pattern list, you can see there are a bunch of different patterns. These are the building blocks of your stepwise recording inside of song mode. So if we go into song mode and we add a pattern track, which is menu item 5 there, and inside of pattern track, when you're ready to record, it works the same way. You do a shift and you do a stepwise record there, and the moment that you start adding in your patterns, you can do that by hitting these pads here. And now I really want to put in one instance of this, and you can see that it added exactly the number of measures that were assigned to that particular pattern. So I go back in the pattern list and I look at the pattern list, and you can see it's actually 16 measures. That's exactly what it added. Okay? So that's stepwise recording. I just recorded that pattern. And if I had more patterns, if I wanted to add, if I wanted to do more, I could go into stepwise recording and add another one. See, and it added another 16 tracks. Or 16 measures, sorry. Okay? That's stepwise recording. In pattern mode, you want to see the actual pattern parameters. Click on menu, and there's the very first item there. Pattern parameters has the number of measures, and here you can change the number of measures that are assigned there, and you can also assign a beat per minute, and you can also choose a time signature. In this case, you can do 3-4-2-4-4-4. I described time signatures in one of my jazz experiments, if you wanted to go and understand a little bit more about how those work. To get into patch edit mode, to edit a particular instrument, first I choose the track of the instrument I'm interested in. Then I click on the instruments button. It takes me directly to that particular instrument, and then I hit the patch edit, and that gets you right into patch edit mode. If I want to change the parameters around the way that a note sounds, I get into patch edit mode, and then I go into partial edit. Inside of partial edit, you can see there are lots of different parameters. It's also possible to modify the pitch of a particular sample that you might have recorded. And this is, I've got several samples in here that I've recorded. You can see that the course tune has been modified on each of those so that I can actually play a scale. Sorry about that. I saw someone use the LFO for a pretty interesting effect. In the LFO, you can modify the way that a sound sounds. What I'm going to do is this patch edit. now inside of the partial edit mode, and what you need to do, let's say to do a chop, is change this to a square wave for LFO. You might even try random, but I'm going to do a square wave. And I'm going to change a couple of things. One is I'm going to change the amplitude, which is just basically how loud or soft that this thing is going to play according to LFO. You can hear it kind of chopping now. And I'm going to change the rate. I'm going to make it a little bit faster. You can hear it kind of wobbling. Alright, and also going to make it pan, so this will make it move in the stereo field left or right. Okay.